It's Cliff Richard here in our studios. Everyone is screaming and jumping if you're a fan, and there are many out there. He has got a new one for all the fans, and it is From a Distance, the event. Now, this was recorded at a live gig in Wembley Stadium last year, right?
It's now 1989. Remember, we're in 91 now, but it was June of 1989 that I did two concerts there. I mean, I didn't think I'd be able to do one because it holds 72,000 people. But they opened the box office for the first day, and I kept my fingers crossed, and in 3 days they'd sold 72,000 tickets. So they opened up the second day. But the recording, I mean, I think when you get a live recording like that, it's luck.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a lot of live recordings, and you have to throw them away. But well, the buttons were pressed in the right way, and this one, to me anyway, seemed to work.
Well, it sounds, as I was talking to you before the camera started rolling, it sounds like a very well-mixed live. It's not choppy, it's congruous, it goes from one to the other, and it sounds very professional. And that's why I was wondering if, when you secured this Wembley gig, and then for 2 days, did you go in thinking, I'm going to come out with a live album? Or were you just hoping?
No, I was hoping for the live album, but I was confident that the pictures would look okay. I'd got a friend of mine who's done a lot of my videos, and I've always said to him, look, you know, it doesn't matter about art, just make me look good, and he's always made me look good. So I knew that it would look all right.
Yeah.
When you come to sound, it's forever, really. I suppose film is forever too, but somehow or another, when people play records in their cars and in their homes, if there are any blips on it, you know, it's there.
They can rewind it.
Yeah.
And it's more accessible.
I still think it was a lot of good fortune that we managed to capture not only the sound, but the atmosphere was there. I mean, I just didn't think we'd capture the atmosphere at all, but the magic is there. The magic that I felt when I listen to that tape now, I can go straight back to those 2 days.
That's great.
Hot summer days we have in Britain, which are all too rare, but they were there. And it's a great memory for me.
Now, it was an event. I think it's an aptly titled CD, in that you spent, what, 8 weeks preparing for that show, isn't it?
6 weeks, actually,
6 weeks.
rehearsing. I had to, because I wanted it to be something special, it was a 5.5-hour extravaganza, and I worked with 3 different bands. I guested with one of the bands that came on called Aswad. I don't know whether you know it. They're a black reggae band and really crowd pleasers. I did an old section of Oh Boy, which is all the 50 stuff that's on the album. I sang with my original band, The Shadows, and then I dug out my contemporary band, and we did an hour and a half at the end of the show. So it was a really tough time, but I must admit, I loved it. And in passing, I have to tell you, when I say in passing, I love saying this, it cost $2.4 million to stage. What's that? That's $4.8 million, Canadian dollars. But it was worth every penny. My accountant hated me for it because I kept saying to him, I'm not into this for money, you know, I want to make this something that we'll all remember. So as the money came in, we spent it on new moving parts for the stage and the lighting. I mean, it was just a great experience for me.
That's
and I indulged, I have to admit.
Well, you're not foreign to the stage, even in musicals. Time is something that was very successful for you, West End musical.
Yes, well,
and
well, I was going to say I wanted to do a musical, but the kind of musicals I'd been offered were, to me, appeared to be the stereotype, what's expected of musicals in the West End. And I am a rock and roll singer. I've always sung rock pop music. And I've yet to go to a musical where you come out knowing at least 5 of the songs because they were in the charts. With Andrew Lloyd Webber, you do get usually 1 or 2 songs that make it, you know. But when you're sitting for 2.5 hours watching a musical, as a pop rock fan, I want to hear a lot of songs.
Right.
And so when I did Time, although I can't claim that it was the greatest musical ever, at least it had 21 songs, you know, and they were songs, not just, we spoke dialogue and we sang the songs when it was necessary. And they were good to average, or average to good songs. There was no wonderful #1 hit, but I had 2 successful singles from it. So, you know, that's the kind of thing I'd still like to do in the future.
And it was a part that was accessible to a pop rock singer. David Cassidy took over the part after you left. So it was a vehicle that was good for a pop rock singer in that regard.
Well, it was about a pop rock singer. I mean, the whole thing was that the Earth is found guilty virtually. It's actually being tried for being bad. You know, that the Earth has deserves ruination. And so therefore, in the storyline, it's a politician they were going to beam up into space, and he was going to defend the Earth. But this cool character says, if they get a politician up there, it's going to go wrong. And he really digs this rock and roll singer, so he twists the beam, and I get beamed up as the rock singer. And I have to defend the Earth. And successfully, as it turns out in the
almost
script.
Before its time. The environmental consciousness back then was not in the news every
As-
day.
No,
as
but it was getting that way.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, again, I suppose there are always flaws in any kind of show that is put on anywhere. And Time had its share of those flaws. But in general, the motivation was good. The message, I've yet to see a musical with as deep a message. It was about the earth and the future of it. And okay, maybe we didn't say it or sing it to the best of our ability, but we made a darn good stab at it, you know. And I did a year with it, and again, 750,000 people came through and saw it. So there was a lot going for it, really. I was very happy in that year. In fact, it's one of the happiest experiences of my whole career. It's one of the best years I can remember.
Excellent. Now, I read an article 2 years ago. You were interviewed, and you said one of your ambitions is to do another West End musical.
Yeah.
Is that the same? Or?
Yeah, it is. But there again, I'm still up against that whole thing about what is a West End musical. At the moment, there are a couple in town that I've really enjoyed. The only two that I've truly enjoyed because of the music. One is the Buddy Holly story called Buddy, which I believe has been playing here.
Yeah.
Because it was pop music. I think I can't help it. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And there's another one that I hope comes through. If it does, you must see it. It's called Return to the Forbidden Planet. There is nothing original in the music. It is all old 50s music. They even use one of my songs.
Oh, great.
And these people are crazy on the stage. The whole cast plays all the instruments. 1 minute the captain of this spacecraft is playing the bass, next minute he's on the drums, next minute he's lead singing, next minute he's on trumpet. They all do everything.
Yeah.
And it's a very exciting, entertaining, frantic. I mean, they sing Great Balls of Fire. All the classic pop songs are filtered through the script, and it's wonderful. I loved it very much.
When you were talking about time and its messages, you are an artist who've dedicated more than his fair share of time and energy to charitable causes, ranging from environment to your own personal beliefs in religion. And you've given much, more than 10%, as one article said. And are there any causes now or anything in the future you're doing?
Well, the causes go on. The one thing I realized the more and more I got involved with charitable work is that you don't solve a problem by giving money once a year, which is the temptation in our high stressed society. We see a poster at Christmas and we think, oh, I feel so guilty. And you drop it in. But people are dying every day, and dying of diseases that are curable in our Western society. So I made it a point to, for instance, when I leave here, I go home and I'll have a couple of weeks free. Then I've got to start planning a gospel charity tour. I do a tour every year that lasts about a month. A week to rehearse it, 3 weeks to perform it. And it's no sacrifice for me, you know. I mean, what the heck, you know, I like singing. And it just means I've got to put that month aside and say, for that month I won't be earning any money or doing anything that's commercial. But it's no great sweat. It's not a sacrifice. And in fact, the pleasure you get from it, the fulfillment that you feel doing it, it's almost as though you're really being paid for it in other ways, and it's really worthwhile. I would recommend it. And you know, I just did a tour of Britain which lasted about 3 months, and just a couple of nights we did the same show, but we just gave the proceeds to charity. I would say to rock stars around the world, you don't have to do a month. There's no ruling. If you want to do a month, do a month. I want to, so I do it. But if every rock star did a tour that lasted, say, 3 months or so, and they just give one night to any charity, so much could be done, you know. I mean, I'm not laying down any laws. I'm just making a suggestion.
No, but it's a philosophy that when I researched your work, and it's been 33 years. It took a while to research since it's been on for 33 years, which was actually a treat in that usually it's very short-lived, or it's here today, gone tomorrow, and you're not. But that consistently through those 33 years you've been giving of yourself to charitable causes. It's a philosophy or an action in your career that's very admirable.
It's more so in the last 26 years when I became a Christian. Of course, all of us in our industry get drawn upon all the time. We're asked to do all sorts of charitable work, and most of us are quite happy to do that. But when I became a Christian some 26 years ago, the urgency came upon me more. When you become a Christian, you see first of all into yourself and see how bad you are. Then once you try to clean yourself out, you start looking in other directions and saying, there are so many things I should be involved in, that there's an emergency and a priority that comes in that makes this other work almost as important, if not more so, than everything else you do.
It's a different perspective than most pop rock people have.
Yeah, a lot of pop rock people have feelings for causes. They do. It's not. We can't just generalize. But unfortunately, the industry that I love so much has a lot to answer for. It's probably created a lot of more problems than it has cleaned up. But it's getting better, you know. Since the things of like Live Aid, I felt so proud. I thought, well, that showed the power that's within our grasp, within the rock and roll world. And that's why I mentioned this business about like giving the proceeds of one concert from every tour you do. It's peanuts for those of us that play to 430,000 people. And people like, well, I'm not going to name any names, but there's other artists that play to even bigger crowds than I play to. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Yes.
And the satisfaction is enormous.
It keeps you young, obviously. It keeps you very young and vibrant.
Well, that would be a good slogan. Give and keep young.
Yeah, really. Forget the oil of Olay. Just do something for charity. Now, we're going to see a video called Silhouette. No, we just saw Silhouette from a distance, which is now popular with Bette Midler.
That's right.
In her current release.
In the battle in Britain, I won. But I don't have a release other than Canada. I think we may have missed the boat in Canada. In the States, of course, Bette had it all to herself.
Yes.
My record wasn't released there at all.
Are you
but
planning
it's a fabulous song.
Are you planning to? Is this released in the States?
No, it won't be.
Oh,
no,
really?
No, I discovered my record company are not very excited by me in America, so I've lost excitement with them.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I feel let down, to be honest with you. I've worked really hard, and the times I've been over there, which is, there are 9 occasions when they asked me to come and support their singles. So I did, and we had 9 top 30 hit singles in the States. 9. 3 of them came from one album, and the album didn't break the 100, so I feel let down by them, because an artist can only support a single.
If it's supported.
Yeah, and if you get it into the charts, then usually the album makes it because the company gets out and works on it.
Right.
So that was a bit disheartening, really, and but you know, am I greedy or what? I mean, I have a great career in so many other places, and again, I'm not unknown in Canada. I've lost a great deal in the 9 years I've not been here, but I'm still alive, and I'm still making good records. Listen, Bette Midler's record is really nice, but I think mine's better. So maybe if people hear it...
It's a completely different rendition. So if someone says, yeah, I know that song, Bette Midler does it, they don't know it if they hear you do it.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because I feel that when I first heard Nancy Griffith sing it some 2 years ago, and I wanted to record it, I took the liberty of changing some lyrics to because it's a very negative song. It's saying, the whole time it's saying that from a distance the world looks green and lush. When you come in close, it's corrupt and filthy. Now, I know that's true, but unless we present a positive image somewhere, we're all going to be bogged down by, oh dear, it's out of our control. So I just changed a few lyrics, like, instead of singing from a distance at one point, I said, for a moment, we must be instruments marching in a common band. No choice. We have to be instruments marching in this common band. Otherwise, we're going to have the Gulf situation every month.
Yeah, it shies away from the apathy that the original song has. Like, well, it's horrible, so what can we do?
It'll always be a beautiful song, though. And the fact that I just wanted it to, when I first heard it, I thought, to me it sounded like an anthem. Whereas I heard it originally as a country song, and Bette Midler's taken it from the country into a more adult, contemporary feel, but still what you'd expect. Dare I say this, Bette? She sang it. I have to say, I wish I could say I hated it, but in fact I think she's got a lovely voice. And she sang it fantastically well. But the only thing I'll say about mine is that mine is the innovative version. I mean, I dared to change it, and
excellent.
It worked in Britain, and I lost the battle here in Canada, but you know, that's life.
Well, this is out. From a Distance, the event.
Yeah, and that version's on there.
Yes, it's on there, along with so many others. The Shadows, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So they can rush out and get this. Let's get a little promo of this From a Distance. Thank you very much, Cliff.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Have a good time.
No, thank you, I will. Great.